issue now that Andrew Cuomo is bringing up in New York is that he is a Ugandan citizen. Uganda is a country where they kill homosexuals.
So somebody who is a dual citizen can't be mayor of New York, or?
I would renounce, if I was the dual citizen with a country whose policy, the government policy was we kill homosexuals, yeah, I would renounce that citizenship. Yeah. I don't, and he also.
I think that is buying into a fear. I think that is buying into a fear framework that is not good. It's not good for the country. It's not good for the country.
You shouldn't be afraid of.
Bill Maher is going all in on Mayor Mamdani, and the heat is impossible to miss. Long before New Yorkers put him in City Hall, Maher was already sounding the alarm and warning that the city could be heading for trouble. Now that Mamdani has been declared the winner, the comedian is holding nothing back. He tears into the ideas behind Mamdani's agenda with his usual sharp wit and sarcasm. This isn't just ordinary political criticism. It's a full-on roast of a city government taking a hard turn to the left, with Maher making sure everyone is paying attention.
The Republicans are not that, democracy is just not number one on their list. It just isn't. It isn't. It's behind Christianity and a few other things. And the Democrats, I mean, I read these, 74% are for democratic socialism. Only 16% favor capitalism. Is this going to be a country that I don't recognize in 5 to 10 years if we don't have these two pillars?
First, I have to push back on Maher's claim that Republicans don't care about free speech or democracy. That argument is far too broad. Republicans often present themselves as defenders of free expression, especially when it comes to fighting cancel culture and opposing attempts to shut down views they disagree with. They argue that protecting open debate is exactly what democracy requires. That said, Maher makes some strong points when he goes after Mayor Mamdani and his socialist-leaning agenda. His vision for New York clearly moves the city in a more government-driven direction, and that could come with serious consequences. Higher taxes, a larger government footprint, and less economic flexibility could put pressure on both New York City and the state. On that issue, Maher's criticism is sharp, timely, and definitely worth considering.
This is not just New York that's on the ballot. I think the whole Democratic Party in the country is on the ballot, and the whole country will be looking at this race to see which way are the Democrats going to go. Where are the Democrats going with this? If Mamdani is the face of the Democrats on the East Coast and Katie Porter is the face on the West Coast, I don't know if that's great politically for that party.
No, Bill Maher. Things are clearly not going smoothly for the DNC. Allowing activists and rigid ideologues to dominate the party isn't exactly a winning strategy. It could be pushing Democrats further away from the voters they need. Over the years, the party has leaned harder into identity politics, cancel culture, and progressive policies, and that shift has created growing tensions. Instead of building a broad coalition around issues that matter to everyday Americans, Democrats can sometimes appear focused on ideological battles that don't connect with moderate or independent voters. When political messaging becomes more about signaling the right beliefs than delivering practical results, it can turn people away. Swing voters aren't necessarily looking for slogans or political purity tests. They want competent leadership, stability, and solutions they can actually see working. If Democrats fail to rethink their direction, they risk becoming increasingly disconnected from voters outside their core base. And in elections, that kind of disconnect can be costly.
It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally.
I think the Republicans are going to...
When you let the Democrat socialists, and now they're actually calling themselves socialists, when you let them take over a major American city, this is what you get. The state-run grocery stores, which work so well in Cuba and the Soviet Union and Venezuela. New York is New York. It's definitely it's the media capital, the financial capital. It is a bellwether like no other city is in this country. So don't tell me that who the mayor of New York is doesn't matter.
Maher spares no one as he goes after Democrats for backing Mamdani, and in his view, the criticism is justified. He sees the decision as a major political miscalculation that could make things much easier for Republicans in the next election. Mamdani's left-leaning socialist-style platform gives the GOP plenty of material to work with. Republicans could simply highlight his most controversial positions and let the backlash build on its own. For Maher, though, this isn't just about campaign strategy, it's about political judgment. By supporting such a polarizing figure, Democrats may have handed their opponents an easy target. Every controversial proposal, public stumble, or provocative statement could become another weapon in the campaign. Instead of trying to win over moderates, the party could end up giving Republicans control of the narrative. Maher's message is straightforward. Democrats may have created a problem for themselves, and that decision could come back to hurt them badly in the elections ahead.
He definitely has the power and influence to elect J.D. Vance or whoever is the Republican candidate next time. It is a walking commercial for the Republican Party nationally. Socialism, to put it simply, just doesn't work and has never worked. We've run this experiment many times, and the results are always obvious. It turned one of Latin America's richest countries into one of its poorest. Low wages, high inflation, shortages, outages, 8 million people fleeing. If you think New York can somehow reinvent this wheel, you're in for a rude awakening.
On paper, the idea sounds appealing. Equality, shared prosperity, and government-controlled services for everyone. But once the government takes over essentials, problems can quickly follow. Shortages, inefficiency, less innovation, and rising frustration can become the reality. Yet despite history's warnings, the DNC continues to flirt with socialist-style policies, often overlooking the failures seen in similar experiments elsewhere. The message may sound compassionate, but putting it into practice can bring very different results.
Who's the most popular politician on the left?
AOC? I don't know.
One of, but who's Bernie is
Bernie, yeah.
Bernie is, I mean, he's not a capitalist, you know?
No, he's not. And he's also not president.
But
never would be.
But neither is Mamdani.
No, but he will, trust me, he will be featured in the campaign commercials.
But they're going to feature people, they boogeyman everybody.
Yeah, but you don't have to boogeyman him. He does it to himself.
But they'll do it regardless. Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, Gavin Newsom. Yeah, but they make anybody into boogeyman. I think it was
just have more weight when it's real.
Maher argues that Republicans won't even need to create a narrative against Mamdani because, in his view, Mamdani's own policies could do the job. There would be no need to exaggerate when controversial proposals already give voters plenty to debate. Ideas like major tax increases and a larger government role could worry people who value economic freedom and efficiency. They may appeal to part of the progressive base, but they could also turn off moderates, independents, and some Democrats. For Maher, that makes Mamdani a target almost by default. Republicans could simply point to his record and proposals, then let voters decide. He sees that as a major political weakness that could come back to hurt Democrats in future elections.
The guy running in New York, Mamdani, right? Okay, who's like a straight up communist. I mean, he is. He talks about, the things that communists say. I mean, he wants free grocery stores, free buses.
I want him to win.
You want him to win?
Yeah. I think every 20 years or so.
Wait.
We need every 20 years or so, we need a conspicuous, confined experiment with socialism so we can crack it up again. Socialist slogan used to be, workers of the world unite, you have nothing to lose but your chains. The new socialist slogan is, trust us, this time it won't be a mess.
And now that seems to be Mamdani's go-to defense, asking voters to trust him and believe that socialism will somehow work this time. He argues that past failures don't apply to his approach, suggesting he can avoid the mistakes that caused problems elsewhere. But confidence isn't the same as proof. The bigger issue is the track record. Critics argue that socialist systems can struggle because of weak incentives, heavy bureaucracy, and too much government control. Mamdani may believe he has found a better formula, but that still leaves voters asking one simple question: what makes this time different? Trust alone isn't a strategy, and optimism doesn't replace a solid plan.
When the post-war Labour government in Britain was about to get started, one of their leading lights was a socialist named Nurian Bevan. He said, what could go wrong? He said, we have a nation bedded on coal, surrounded by fish. It would take an organizational genius to have a shortage of either. In 3 years, they had a shortage of both. That's socialism.
Maher's point is that history offers plenty of examples of socialist systems struggling with resource management. Instead of delivering the promised prosperity, heavy centralized control can create bureaucracy, waste, shortages, and frustration. When governments control large parts of production and distribution, decisions can become slower and less efficient. The promise of equality can also fall short, with political elites gaining influence while ordinary people deal with limited choices and fewer resources. Shortages, declining quality, rationing, and even black markets can emerge when supply can't keep up with demand. The bigger lesson, according to Maher's argument, is simple. An ideology may promise equality, but putting too much power in the hands of the state can produce very different results.
Do you think that Mamdani's election will lead more financial organizations to leave New York City for Wall Street South in Florida? Tell me, I've read that term just recently, Wall Street South, Florida. This is your state. What is that?
A lot of Wall Street guys have moved to Palm Beach. It's been happening really since COVID. It's accelerated with increases in taxes. It's not just out of New York. It's New Jersey, Connecticut, it's Chicago, it's California.
So they're fleeing high tax blue states for Florida.
Maher is warning about a growing shift from blue states to red ones, driven less by politics and more by rising costs and uncertainty. High crime, homelessness, taxes, and business costs are pushing families, companies, and even wealthy residents to look elsewhere. States like California and New York are facing growing pressure as people and businesses move out. Maher's point is simple. When residents, jobs, and money start leaving, it's a warning sign that deeper problems need attention.
This is the luckiest guy in the world that Mamdani got elected, because his district is going to explode. My house, I live 8 miles outside of Queens, has gone up 20% in value since Mamdani announced, okay?
Because
people aren't going to pay the punishing taxes. New York is the highest tax state in the union.
But you said your house value's gone up.
Yeah, because they're moving to Nassau County.
Oh, they're moving out of the city.
Out of the city, and they can still take the train back in the city and not pay the millionaire's tax or whatever crazy thing this guy wants.
In the end, Maher's warning is about consequences, not personalities. When ideology takes over, voters, businesses, and investment can simply move elsewhere. He argues that the DNC's embrace of socialist-style policies could push more people toward the exit. Higher taxes, bigger government, and promises of "trust me" have a long history of disappointing results. Maher believes Democrats risk losing the middle, while Republicans may not even need to attack. The policies could speak for themselves. If the party refuses to change course, voters may deliver the final verdict. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.